Hi, my name is Jordan, and I feel really awkward making this video. I also am realizing I talk with my hands a lot, and this just started. But I've never made a video before, but I was encouraged by a couple of my friends to share my story and what's currently going on in my life, and I thought the easiest way to do that was this versus trying to type something out, and this just seems a little more personal to me. I had been debating on sharing. Hi, sweet baby. Anyway, I had been debating sharing this for a couple of reasons, and obviously if you've seen the caption or any of my posts, you're realizing that this is a story about fertility issues. And one of the reasons I didn't share was because, I know a lot of people have it worse than me. I know people have no ability to have children, and that's kind of what I was getting at with my post about fertile but infertile. And I'm also here to say, and a couple people had to tell me this, it doesn't matter the magnitude of your struggle is a struggle, and you shouldn't diminish or you shouldn't look down at your own struggle because you know people have it worse. It doesn't matter. And I was having a hard time with that. Another reason I hadn't shared is because I was kind of keeping it a secret for a while. I always thought I was going to get to surprise my family and tell them that exciting, cute way, oh my gosh, we're having a baby, we're pregnant, And if they knew we were trying, or if they knew that we were struggling, then they knew. And there was not going to get to be any kind of a surprise, and they wouldn't be surprised when we told them that we were having a baby. I will say that was not the way to go. It might be for some people. It was not the way to go for us. I feel so much more support and love and grace with all these prayers behind me and people praying for us and getting us through the struggles that we've been going through. Where do I start? Okay, this is where we're gonna start. When I was 15 years old, so 14 years ago, I was admitted to the emergency room with severe abdominal pain. When they gave me a CAT scan and figured out what was wrong, they said that I had a stone in my appendix and that I had a ruptured cyst on one of my ovaries. I was put into surgery. Are you put into surgery? Whatever. I went into surgery and had my appendix taken out, and for the cyst, what I picture is them going in there with some kind of cool little vacuum and just, sucking up whatever fluid ruptures. I have no idea what they do, whatever they did to resolve that. So that happened to me 14 years ago. So in my mind, I had kind of always told myself there was a chance that I was going to struggle having kids. To add on to that story, because I was clearly having problems with ruptured cysts, they put me on birth control when I was 15. So I kind of felt that maybe that was going to have some kind of a play on it too. Like it was going to take longer for us because I had been on birth control for so long. My hormones needed to mellow out or find their own regulation and all of that. Well, we tried and it wasn't working. And if you've gone through this, you totally understand that it is normal when people tell you it takes 6 months to a year for you to get pregnant. That's normal, it's normal. But even though that's normal, I can't tell you how much it hurts to see a negative pregnancy test. Even on the first try, it hurts. You cry and it's devastating. And it's normal, but that doesn't mean it wasn't heartbreaking. And if you've never experienced this, that's amazing. And I'm so happy for you because it's nothing fun to go through 1, 2, 10, 12 times. More than 12. People try over a year. Anyway, so it wasn't working for us. I finally told my mom after we had had some issues, and talked to my dad, talked to my mom, told my husband's parents, and we just kind of said, we need to talk to doctors and see if there's something we can do. We then scheduled to have some blood work done to be an easy start. This I did with my OB, that way my insurance would cover it and I didn't have to go see a specialist or anything like that yet. I had my blood work done, and everything in the first round came back normal. The only thing that didn't come back is your AMH, which is basically, I'm not a scientist, I'm probably not going to describe this right, but it's the number that tells you how many eggs you have and that kind of thing. So waited on that. We found out that then my AMH was lower, and then the next cycle was to go to 2 tests that they do actually in the office. So I had internal ultrasound done and an external ultrasound done, and then they did a test for me where they basically put fluid into your tubes and try and see if there's any kind of a blockage. Well, those results came back and they said that my right fallopian tube was completely blocked. They said it could be, typically it could be an infection and fluid, or it could be scar tissue, which in my mind, it's scar tissue because if I had an infection, I feel like that would hurt, I don't know. And it's been a long time, but scar tissue because I had surgery, and that made sense to me. So my doctor then referred me to a specialist to talk about if that tube needed to come out. She wanted his opinion on if there was a way maybe we could save it, or if he suggested something else, and what he thought, or if it just needed to come out. When I saw the specialist though, this is when my AMH number came into effect. So he basically told me that I had DOR, which is diminishing ovarian reserve. Had no idea what that was, had to Google it, but to break it down in a number aspect for you, somebody my age should have an AMH level of maybe a 2.7, and I had an AMH level of a 0.76. That is the average AMH level of somebody in their upper 40s. So I clearly don't have a lot of eggs left. This was very discouraging, and it's very overwhelming when you have these conversations with these doctors, because you want to ask them your questions, and there's questions you don't think of until way after the fact, and then you also don't even get a chance to let what they just told you sink in and how you feel about it or anything. So it was rough. He then gave me a bunch of information. He did say my tube needed to come out, so okay, cool, we addressed one thing. He then gave me a bunch of information on IUI and IVF and how much all this costs, and you know, my insurance doesn't cover IUI or IVF, so these numbers are just expensive. It's very overwhelming. My husband and I just bought a new house, and it's a lot. And he kind of basically told me that, you know, there's a good chance if I want more than one child, we needed to do IVF. You know, if you know me, I am a huge planner, and I wasn't expecting this. You know, when me and my husband got married, we decided that we didn't want to try having kids for 2 years because honestly, he's a police officer, so we don't get the same amount of time normal newlyweds do, but also we just wanted to be selfish. We wanted to just be married, just be husband and wife. We wanted to have all this time together and be able to do what we wanted, spend money how we want, go on all these vacations, and then after 2 years, we said we were going to do it. 2021, that's what we told people. 2021, we'll have a baby. And so when 2021 came around, I wanted a baby. That was the plan. I don't understand. So he told me if we wanted more than one, we should go ahead and just do IVF. Don't even worry about trying naturally. And once again, very overwhelming. They take you to another room. They explain IVF to you. You get given your own nurse. They give you your own nurse that you will be in contact with. They give you a support person who's gone through IVF, so that way if you have any questions and the emotions that you would go through, and it was a lot of information. And if I'm being honest, I went home freaking out, like, okay, I guess we have to do IVF. But it's a lot of money. And I kept telling myself, you know, if money wasn't a factor, then we'd absolutely do it, no problem. And money technically isn't a factor. There are ways that like you can go through programs and you can take out a loan or you can pay in payments. There's all these other things you can do. And I was just really beating myself up. Every day I wasn't sleeping well. I was upset and I just felt like I didn't know what was right, which was weird because in my mind I was like, well, if money is an issue, I would do it. So it was weird to me to have this feeling that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I am a big believer in prayer. I have felt spoken to in little ways before when I needed to be guided in a certain direction, and that's what I had. I had to pray on it. My husband had to pray on it. My mom prayed. My in-laws prayed. The thing that we got that helped us the most was we couldn't do anything until my fallopian tube was removed. So we didn't have to make a decision right now. I wanted to make a decision because I felt like it was weighing on me so much. It was all I could think about, and I needed to make a decision so I could stop stressing, being emotional, being upset. And my mom said, you know what? You just act like you're gonna do it. And that's what we decided to do. So even though I was acting like we're gonna do IVF, I had almost 2 months to actually make a real decision. This happened on a Thursday that my mom told me to do that. I did it. I felt good. I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to think about it anymore. And on Friday, my world got flipped upside down. Since we moved, I do live a little bit further from work now. I say a little bit, like almost double. So I spend more time in the car, I drink my coffee, and I listen to KSBJ. I all of a sudden was just driving to work and felt this pressure pushed onto me and had this overwhelming feeling that we did not need to do IVF. And not that we didn't need to do IVF ever, but that we didn't need to do IVF right now. That we were going to be able to conceive a child naturally after my tube was removed, and God was going to make sure that I still had enough eggs to be able to cross the IVF bridge after our first child. And it was very overwhelming, but I just felt it. And then on KSBJ, right after this happened, they played a song, Mercy is New Today. And then the next song right after that, no commercial, was Power in the Name of Jesus. And I just broke down. I don't know if that was sent directly towards me. I don't know if it was a coincidence. In my mind, it's not. It was powerful. And after that song ended, the radio host came on and just said, there is purpose in his pain. And that stuck with me. Like, I typed it out my phone, purpose in his pain. I've gone through a lot of pain recently, and this was reassuring for me. I got to work that day, and all I did was open Google and typed in purpose in his pain scripture. And the first one that comes up is Jeremiah 29:11, which is actually mine and my husband's verse for each other. For I know the plans that I have for you, declared the Lord. I cried for probably hours. I felt so cradled and loved, and I just had all this pressure lifted off of my shoulders. And it felt good. I felt very happy. I didn't feel stressed. It is still a lot to think about, and we still have a lot of bridges to go over, but I feel like I just know what was right for us. I now am about a week post-op of having my tube removed. It's a very simple outpatient surgery. It's not terrible. My doctor said that I must have a really high pain tolerance, which is awesome because if you know me at all, I'm a total wimp. But she said that my fallopian tube was probably 20 times the size of a normal one. So it absolutely needed to go. There was scar tissue everywhere. When she got in, she couldn't see anything because there was so much. So she removed my tube, removed all the scar tissue, and checked my left tube to make sure that there was nothing wrong, and there wasn't. So now I'm in the process of just recovering from that, and we're going on to the next steps. We have to wait until we are in the clear to try again naturally, and we get to go back and see the doctors if nothing happens within 6 months is what they told us. It's a lot of information to share, and I know that people are definitely more open about infertility than they used to be, and I have many friends that are dealing with it, and I have many friends that aren't. But it's a serious struggle, and I just feel for anybody that's going through it, and I just hope that this is some kind of beacon of hope for anybody, and for you to know it, you're not alone. I Googled over and over again once I was told that I had DOR to find anybody that was around my age that experienced this. There are many people that have DOR, but they're in their 40s, and not saying that that's not upsetting and going to be hard for them to have a baby, but I wanted somebody that I could relate to that was in my situation. So I hope that if anybody is in this situation, like, I would love to talk to you and pray for you. And even if I don't know you and you don't want to be open about what you're going through, I understand that, but I still have so many prayers for you. So whether you're in this season of life or you haven't even started to try to have a baby, I hope this helps, and I hope that things come easy for everybody. But if not, you're not alone, and I am happy to talk to anybody. Also, just a thought, your fertility is not something that people check on your annual physical. So if you're at an older age, I mean, you don't even have to be older, I would ask your doctor if they want to test your AMH, or if you can just test your blood work and see if there's anything they need to know in advance. That way you at least get a head start. And it is hard because they do ask you to wait an entire year of trying before they'll do all these tests, but it kind of stinks too that, you know, you go through an entire year when there was something wrong all along. So it doesn't hurt to ask to get the blood work done if you're ready, and just be the best advocate for yourself. I think that that's super important, and push to have the answers that you want. Well, maybe not the answers that you want, but answers to your questions. And, you know, stop asking people when they're going to have babies.